Yo, what's going on? About to chat with Emily Hayden for a little bit, a little jamboree. What's going on? What's going on? Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. We're about to have a chat with Emily Hayden. Alright, let's do it. What's going on?
What's
Yo,
up? What's up? That was quick.
yeah. Here we are in a trash world, making things happen, executing quickly.
I was a little late because I was watching your stories about being a man. It was great.
have you ever
Well, the Home Depot one was awesome.
have you ever followed that guy, the Be a Man guy?
Yes, yes, it
Yeah.
is hilarious.
The best, maybe the best account that I follow, I think, of all. I've seen him go like up 100 something thousand followers in like not very long.
No way.
Yeah.
See, I don't even know who that is. I just always see like the reposts or the shares of my friends that are sharing him, and I think it's hilarious. Like at the end of the day, all I need is that good laugh about something really stupid, and I'm like, that's a good one.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that he's been reposting people that make their own DMAs. And I
Oh,
was like,
man.
all right, I'm just gonna go shoot one on while I'm walking the dog, and then I just like started ripping. I think I did like 30.
Hell yeah. Wait, did he repost any yet?
No, it's only been up for like an hour, but
Oh,
we'll
okay.
see.
There you go.
We'll see. My favorite one, my favorite one, I forgot to tag him in, was the one where I was like, never wash your windows until they get dirty and then move.
Yeah, right.
Because if you've ever washed the windows at a house that you own, it takes for eternity. It takes eternity, forever.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, there's a lot of windows in this house. I've
And
only
you
lived
go,
here a month, so I haven't washed them yet. I don't know if that's a bad thing, but I may enlist some. I have like 12 nieces and nephews, so I think I'm just gonna like make cookies and say, hey, you get a cookie when you're finished with your window.
yeah, and just get them up on the second story, just out on the roof, just it'll be
My
safe. It'll be
sister
safe.
will be fine with that.
Yeah. No, I did it at my house, and I don't have that many windows. I think I have like 17 or 18 or something, and it was just a really
How do
horrible.
you know?
Oh no, I know, because it takes forever. And the other thing too is you have to do it at a certain time of day, like when the light is just right. Otherwise, you miss all the spots. It's terrible. It's terrible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you ever used a pressure washer?
I've hired a guy with. Yes, I have, and I've hired a guy
It's
that uses it.
so much fun. Like pressure washing either the concrete or like a fence, just making those nice little lines. If you're OCD at all, it's like, it's great.
Yeah, but it just takes forever, and like you're out there all day, and it's loud, and it's too much. It's too
Yeah,
much.
yeah, it's too much. And
Yeah,
Matt says the collab we didn't know we needed.
yeah,
Crypto 10B, such a fan of you, Emily. What's up? All the way from Norway. So we need to go to another music festival, I think.
I know. That is the strategy. I actually heard there. So there's one in Austin City Limits, I think.
What is it called? Do you remember?
Austin City Limits.
Oh, literally Austin City Limits. Yeah. When is that though?
Oh, I'm gonna find out.
That I mean, I have friends that have always gone to that always loved it, but the
October.
tickets, yeah. I mean, if I'm here, I'm down.
Yeah. So EDC is in October. So
Hmm.
Austin City Limits, the headliners are Miley Cyrus, which is just thrilling. George Strait, Billie Eilish, also garbage. Rufus the Soldo, which is good. It's like a nice mixture. It's just
Rufus used to Rufus used to live at my friend's apartment in LA.
really.
Like the same, yeah. We like met them once down in the little office thing, and I was like, "Huh, I know your music."
He just lived there and just a normal patron of
Just,
the.
he had somewhere he lived. He had somewhere that he printed things out. Just a normal person.
Just a normal person. This guy. So I met this guy a couple weeks ago that said that Andy Dick lives in his apartment building in Los Angeles, and said that he's like a tyrant. That he just like his place is like a disaster, and like he's always like knocking on his door, and he's just like always fucked up and just not a good look.
Wow.
And I was like, interesting.
Wow. I know. You always wonder, like, who are the neighbors of these people and what do they think? What do they know? They know the real tea.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I can't imagine. I can't imagine living in a building with a famous person like that. That's like famous in the sense that people know them, but like kind of like I don't know, and then just seeing
Yeah.
all the weird things that they do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, if anything, I feel like it just like humanizes them to be like, okay, they're just a regular, POS like everybody else.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely. The stories were very weird. I'll keep it not on here, but I was like, wow, that's extremely peculiar. Like that's not something that I needed to know.
Extremely peculiar.
Yeah.
Janae, what's up? She says, my kids love your podcast. You made them believe. That's awesome. Thank you. That's super dope. What's up, Omar?
So
Oh,
you
cool,
never,
cool, cool.
so have you ever live streamed before, or have you only done it
Yeah.
alone?
So, okay, I have before, and whenever quarantine first hit, last year, like March, I did like a little Instagram live series where I like interviewed people. And what's up, sisters here? What's up, Liz Lau? Shout out, you a bad bitch. I did a little podcast interview thing on my live, and it was awesome. But yeah, I don't going live isn't really like my. I don't know. I don't do it. I'm definitely
Yeah,
not like. I know you do it all the time.
yeah. It's like part of the operation. Like yesterday, I was going to make a video yesterday about cryptocurrency, and I was like, I don't know how to condense this into 5 minutes or 10 minutes and like make it
Mm-hmm.
succinct. So I was just like, I just need to go on and just like yell for a while.
So really, this is just your outlet.
Yeah,
See, you know what? I think one of the reasons why is because I have so many outlets. Like I have my podcast, I have solos, I have interviews, I have coaching calls that I do. So I have so many outlets that I don't, and I also have YouTube, you know what
yeah.
I mean? So like I'm getting those moments to like unleash all those things that I need to unleash. So I don't know, maybe I just don't utilize Instagram live, but you know what? Maybe I'll start. Maybe this will
Well,
be the start of something new.
well, see, that's the thing. You're right. That's a really good point actually, because you like it's almost like you gave everything already, and you don't want to re-deliver the message that you already put in a bunch of different spots because you already said it. So you're just like, ah,
Totally. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so okay, let's I feel like we should talk about maybe like a topic that I've seen come up recently. Maybe we can like bounce back and forth on it.
okay,
Um, but like I just did one of my coaching calls, and a common theme that I'm seeing in people recently is that they're actually not unaware to the changes that they need to make in their life. They're actually very hyper aware to them. They just lack the ability to take action and to follow through on these things. And I think a lot of that comes from the lack of accountability. Because if you're only accountable to yourself and you're in the habit and in the pattern of being lazy and of not, not putting your best and not taking action on things, I think it's really easy to stay in that slump, to stay in that pattern. So I know you and I have talked before, and you have gone through a period of your life where you've just been like, okay, I'm like getting on top of my stuff. I'm going to be on top of it. I'm going to drive and work hard and really go after these things that I want in my life. So I want to know like what helped you get from the point of kind of like maybe not doing your best, maybe not living in like the best version of you, not always taking action, to this person that I remember when we hung out in Dallas. That's when I really noticed, was like, dang, like you are on fire for what you do. Like you were motivated, you were working your butt off, you were putting your whole heart into it. So what was that switch? What helped you make that switch for yourself?
I think I think it's a combination of a couple things. It's like I think that it came from extreme frustration with lack of objective progress, where it was like
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was kind of stagnating at the same spot. And one of the measurements that kind of messes me up is when using just like ones that are objectively true. Like for example, like my annual revenue for my business, for example. It's like I had 2 years where it like really wasn't that significant of a difference, and I wasn't just like super thrilled with it. And I'm just like, I can't stop. I can't keep doing the exact same thing. I have to make some shift. Otherwise, at the end of next year, I'm going to look at it and be like, oh, there it is again. It's just the same thing. And then on top of that, it's almost like expecting there to be different results and then not happening because of what it is you're doing. So I was like, I have to start making some radical, outrageous shift in so many things that I would have otherwise never thought to shift. Like
Mm-hmm.
stopping smoking weed is one that I talk about a lot. It's just like smoking weed is such a huge part of my life. And I'm just like, what would happen if I just never smoked weed ever? Like
Yeah.
how how driven would I be from that, and what would it allow me to do? And it's like now you have all of this mental energy open and all of this mental thinking time open where you're just sharper and sharper and sharper every day. And once I started becoming sharp to what was happening, I realized that I was being super lazy. It was like, oh,
Wow.
the day's over. Let me, like, I'm just gonna blaze and watch a movie, and like I'll get up tomorrow. And you don't even realize that even if you lose 20 minutes a day, you're talking hours and hours a week. And hours a week over a year is like days and days of time. And it's, for me, it was even more than that. So it's like you're
Mhm.
literally losing weeks and weeks of time. I remember I heard Elon Musk say one time, he's like, if I work 12 hours in a day and somebody else works 8 hours in a day, by the end of the week, I'm like a day ahead of you. And he's just like,
Wow.
he's like, if I
Yeah.
work Saturday and Sunday, he goes, I'm 3 days ahead of you. And he's like,
Mhm.
multiply that over the year, and I'm 2 months more productive than you are by the end of the year. Imagine that over like a span of 10 years. So the 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 non the slow progression was starting to bother me, where I was getting frustrated by the fact that I wasn't getting there fast enough. That was kind of the thing that really lit me up. Was it's just like I'm gonna die, and I don't know
Yeah.
how old I'm gonna be when I die, and I need to like start cooking because otherwise time is just wasting away.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's so important to recognize that when that shift is happening, when you're like, okay, this is like kind of like a do or die moment. Like I either do this or I spend the rest of my life living the status quo, living how I've always lived. And I always say that was the point when in my life I realized I had to choose to evolve or die. Like, and to me,
Yeah,
dying means remaining the same. Because if you're remaining the same, if you're stagnant, I think that really you're just waiting to actually die. You know, people every single day are literally, they're alive by their heartbeat, but they're dead inside. They're not going anywhere. They're not doing anything. They're not growing, learning, developing. And I think we have to look for those moments in our lives that inspire us, that light us on fire, that give us something to work for and to get excited about. Because when we bring that kind of energy into a situation, whether it's a business, a relationship, a friendship, that is something that has its own energy, it's its own momentum. And when you can put that together with somebody else that's on that same kind of level, I think that's when I'm home alone and I'm like, I should not be hearing anything right now. Hold on. It's actually my alarm to take out my trash. Alexa, turn off. Turn off. Alexa's become my new best friend.
nice.
If you live alone, just get an Alexa. You
It
can
was
listen
weird.
to everything.
I had like Google sent me one of those free Google Home things, and like every time the maid would pick it up, it would be like, "Bah!" it would like yell something at her, and it freaked me out enough times that I was just like,
Really?
yeah,
No, I like her. She's great. I ask her to tell me jokes. She tells me like a joke of the day. She's not that funny, but she's working on
nice.
it. Omar said, I had that spark not too long ago. I'm still working to evolve. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm working towards reinventing myself. I always say to people that are in that, that's such an exciting phase of your life because you get the opportunity to just be curious about what it is that is going to be that thing for you. So don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to fully go after something. And I would say just kind of make it a part of your normal routine now to go try these new things to see what sticks for you. Because what sticks for you might not stick for somebody else. So just keep trying it until you figure out what works for you.
The other thing too that kind of lit me up was realizing that I was making myself out to be the victim of some extenuating circumstance that wasn't my own lack of whatever, being strategic. Like, for example, like seeing a person that you know or that you grew up with that is maybe more successful than you at something, or talking to a buddy of yours that is making more money than you or is whatever. And I remember when my account first started taking off, I just remember thinking to myself, these people that are following me are all like executing and hitting at a really high level. And as well as I think that I'm doing in life because I have X, Y, and Z, I'm like, oh well, I have a nice car and I own a house, and the people that are around me are renting or they don't own the car that they want, or they're making good money but they don't own their own business. So I'm like, oh, I'm doing really well. As soon as my account started to take off, I'm like, there's plenty of people my age or younger that are executing at a much higher degree than me. And it was at that point that I realized that it's like you really kind of are a byproduct of the people that you spend your time with. And it really is kind of one of those hard pills to swallow where you're just like, I need to be around people that operate at my level or above only, kind of. And
Yes.
and it's like this huge moment. And I had a friend that had mentioned this to me, and it was kind of one of those things where you're just like, I never even thought of that. I never even thought that somebody else would notice that from the outside and then even take the time to mention it to me. And then she's just like, you gotta find people that are at your that are
Mm,
operating at your level because you're
yeah.
kind of like wasting your time. And as soon as I started thinking that way, it's like how radical a shift can come when you go out of like the victimhood, I'm doing all right, to the like unquenchable thirst for more.
Yes, and it's that saying that you're the sum of the, 4 or 5 people that are around you.
Yeah,
And it's not just you, it's even like your financial status. If you want to see into your future, look at the financial status of the people that you spend the most amount of time with. Look at the relational health, the relationship statuses and health of the people that are around you. That's probably going to dictate your future. So it's really important to start qualifying what people you allow in your community because environment is everything. I
yeah,
think about it in the terms of every single day we're planting seeds into our lives. Either we're the ones actually planting it, or it's other people that are around us that are planting the seeds inside of our lives that we choose to water or not. We choose to water those relationships or not. And the thing about a seed is you have to be really careful about what kind of pot you put it in, how big it is, what kind of soil it is, how much you water it, how much light it gets. It's also specific to help it to take that root or to help the seed take root into the soil and then to sprout forth and then to have flowering and then to have budding. So a lot of people, they go throughout their lives and they want to see these beautiful flowers in their life, right? They want to see the fruit of their life. They want to see all these great things. But in this day and age of instant gratification with social media and the way that, even just ordering food, we can have food to us in literally like 40 minutes, right? Any type of food. It's all such this fast paced mentality that I think it's good to have this eagerness and this drive to work for the things that you want, to be motivated for them. But it's always really important to understand that everything has a process and everything in its due time will happen. The good thing about planting seeds right now is that the harvest is guaranteed. The harvest is guaranteed, but the harvest determines, or the seeds determine what type of harvest you get, right? So if the harvest that you have in your life right now is something that you're not enjoying, something that you're not looking forward to when you wake up every single day, you have to ask yourself, what seeds were I planting or was I planting 2 years ago? What seeds were I allowing other people in my lives? Where was I allowing them to plant into my life? Because that's probably the harvest that you have right now. And so the seeds that you're planting now, don't expect to see the harvest tomorrow. Like it's going to be a long period of time. So like, I always say just keep the good faith and doing the things that you're doing and planting those seeds and working hard and chasing what you're chasing after, but release the control and the pressure of having to have it done in a certain amount of time or achieving a certain thing by a certain amount of time. Things have a process to them. The flower is not going to flower before it's ready to flower. And I always say too that you want to make sure that the things that you're planting take root. Sometimes the seeds that you plant, they take root before you ever see any green, any budding, and any flowering. And it's because the root is getting depth and width and strength, and it's going to be what holds you through those storms. So even when you're starting a business, even when you're starting a relationship, it may seem tedious to really pay attention to the watering and the light and the things that you're putting into it. But those things are not tedious and they're not insignificant. They're actually the most significant because that's what allows, that seed to actually take root in your heart, in your relationships, and your finances. So I think it's really important to just trust the process, which I know is a really like, cliche thing to say. But just if you look at nature, we have examples all around us that everything has a process and that in its due time it sprouts and there's a spring and there's the flowering and sometimes there's the withering away. And so I think if we look to nature as our example, we can have a little less pressure as we chase our goals and go after these things, knowing full well sometimes things wither away, but then something new will grow as long as you continue to kind of plant those seeds and to have multiple seeds and pots that you're planting in.
yeah. The complete and total accountability for all of your wins and all of your losses is kind of another thing where
Oh,
you're like this is I have to like eat all of the shit and I have to like eat all of the success, whichever it
yeah.
is that I get. When you kind of have that 100% complete accountability all the way through, you take a little bit more responsibility for what happens, and
Mm,
you're just like, all right, I made this happen, good for me. Now how do I keep it continuing to happen? And if anything is bad or staying where it is, it's just like it's pretty much your fault. And
hmm
thinking about it that way, especially when you realize that like every single thing that happens in your life is by design from what you're spending your time thinking on. The small decisions that you make between like which food that you grab at the grocery store, or how long you spend at the gym, or how hard you work at the gym, or who you decide to call today when you want to go to this place, or do you go to the bar, or do you go to the park, or do you go on a trip to see this person or to see this person. It's like these very small individual small decisions added up in totality is responsible for like the entire picture of how your life ends up. And again, it's like back to the not smoking weed thing, is I was just like, I was so passive about 3 hours of decisions about what happened in my mind a day. It's like I didn't care what was going on in my mind. Now in that exact same time span, it's like, wait, did I do enough today? Am I getting better today? Like, who am I going to socialize with this week? You know, did I make more money today? Did I advance today? Did I go hard enough to the gym today? Should I go back to the gym? There's just like so many different decisions that are made
Yeah.
when you feel totally accountable for it. It's just like I feel like you really start to see the fruits of it happening quickly. And like you said about
Mhm.
planting multiple seeds, it's like when you've got 50 things growing, when a thing hits, you're just like, yeah, of course. Like I've got 50 going. Like
Yeah.
something has to hit. And then it just starts ding, 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 ding as you go through. And it's like as long as something is always cooking, then you really like you almost can't lose because the failures you learn from, the wins you accumulate, you're really not satisfied with it as long as you're enjoying it and continue to stack
hmm
them. It's like that's a lifestyle you could just do that for the rest of your life and you'll probably be pretty good.
Yes, exactly. And I think what you're saying is so important because I think a lot of people self-medicate with certain things and they think that I used to have a lot of friends that they would say that they are better functioning when they're high and
Yeah.
that they're really high functioning and they get things done, whatever. And it's funny because they went for a period of time where they cut it out completely too. And they were like, Emily, I can think so much more clearly. And and they're seeing their life is getting better. And I'm like, yeah, man, because when you do that, you're dampening yourself. So rather than being the 100% most authentic version of you, you're like a maybe 60%, maybe 70% on a good day version of you. So what can the 70% version of yourself do compared to the 100? Completely different. So a lot of people see it as insignificant, or maybe it's just a habit that they have that they don't really see as holding them back. But oftentimes, that's the very thing that's holding them back from discovering these things about themselves. So many people wonder, like, why can't I figure out my life purpose? Why can't I figure out the direction I want to go in life? And it's because they lack clarity. And when you are lacking clarity, you have to first identify all the things in your life that are dampening your clarity. And once you can identify that, you have to eliminate it. And maybe eliminate it for a period of time to get that clarity and to take that action. And maybe it's not something you're saying I'll never do again in my life. That's extreme too. But maybe just for a period of time, give yourself that moment of clarity. That's why in my coaching programs, I do a 90-day stint where for 90 days, I have them refrain from drugs or alcohol. And it's for the purpose of giving them more clarity than they've ever had in their lives. Because if you ask most adults these days, when's the last time that you had a 90-day stint of full sobriety, fully
Yeah.
feeling the feelings that you're feeling, fully clear in your thinking, not avoiding anything. And when you ask them that, they're like, I actually can't remember. I don't know if I've ever done that. And so it's a challenge for sure. It's hard. But once you do it, you start to have clarity on all these things that just seemed so confusing before. And it's not confusing. You're just dampening your judgment. You're dampening your eyesight, your vision.
Yeah.
So,
We underestimate the power of taking time to think about the actions that we're about to take, even tomorrow. Being being thoughtful about what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do for the remainder of this week? Like, what's my strategy for how I approach this? And when you're kind of like, when you're allowing time to pass and then you're just making those decisions on the fly,
mm-hmm.
there is no strategy. You're just reacting instead of preparing. You're always just
Yeah.
reacting to what's happening. And I've met so many people, especially when I was younger, like in the college age, where they would be like, I'm never alone. like I always am with my roommates or my girlfriend, or I'm out on the doing something. Like I just love people, and I'm like, look, I love people too, but
Mhm.
it's some of that time where you're just like, it's just you and like a tree and the dog or whatever, and
Yes.
you're just like, what am I doing? Because that you we when we allow time to pass without being cognizant of like of the strategy about what direction we're going in, we have no target and we miss
Hmm.
things, and we don't
Hmm.
think about the short term. We certainly aren't thinking about the long term. So I just
Yeah.
feel like I feel like simply spending time to just think about whatever it is that you're going to do next is something that's made the hugest difference in my life. Like I'm so thankful for my dad. When I hang out with my dad, we're not like talking about things that are inconsequential. It would always be like, so like what's good with work, or like what are you gonna do next, or I need a project. Like just the other day, my dad retired, and the other day he calls me up from vacation from California, and he's like, I need something. I need like an activity. I need a. He's like, I need a project to work on. Let's invest in a house, or let's rent a house, or let's find a way to like create some cash flow so that it's like something to do, something to get ahead. It's like
Yeah.
you can't stagnate, and that was instilled in me throughout my whole life, where it was like always kind of plotting the next thing. And all of the greatest things that have ever happened to me in life have come from these like grinding through the possibilities of what could be and then executing on them in some type of predetermined time frame. It's like, all right, we're going to invest in a house, and then we're going to clean up the house, and then we're going to sell it. And then a year later, it was like, all right, we invested in the house, we cleaned up the house, we built the house, we sold it. What's next? And it's like we're
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
kind of clicking through, and it's like we almost have to do that every day about everything that we do. Should I spend more time with this person, or should I find a way to meet better people? Should I spend more time doing the same old thing that I did in work, or should I find a new process? It's like that time to think is a prerequisite, I think, of having strategy, of having long-term strategy.
I think it's so important. And I think what you're saying about spending time alone is really important too, because even if we are physically alone, a lot of us, I think, spend a lot of time filling that lull moment or that lonely moment with social media, scrolling, or movies or whatever. When it's like, if you have a period of time in your life where you are alone, you're not in a relationship, maybe you don't have roommates, that is such an important time for you to dig in and to start working on yourself and to start showing yourself, number one, discovering who you are, discovering what you're about, and maybe also addressing some things that maybe you didn't have the space or the time to address before. When you're in a relationship, all of your focus is on that relationship and on them. Whereas, and maybe it shouldn't always be, but I'm saying when you get that chance to be alone, you now have an opportunity to really dig into these things, because oftentimes people will fill a void, right? We all have like this void inside and we want to fill it with another person. And we get out of a relationship, and why do you think we have the term rebound? Like we have this void, this needing for love. And it's like if we don't ever address that void ourselves and figure out what our patterns are and to try to change what's causing us to act in a pattern, then we can't ever come to a new person and not repeat that same pattern. That pattern will always be repeated. So I think there would be a lot less hurt people in the world if we would stop using other human beings to fill our void and
Yeah.
instead deal with the things that's actually going on inside of us. Um, and I think someone else had mentioned, oh, Patrick's here. What's up, Patrick? Um, Someone else had mentioned, too bad therapy is for the rich. Let's talk about therapy. I think therapy is so important. And I think this day and age, there is absolutely no excuse to not get the help that you need. This day and age, with YouTube and podcasts and all of the free content, people that are doing lives, people that post, even just Instagram. I've gotten so many, like, my own revelations just from Instagram quotes from therapists and psychologists that are incredible at what they do. I've gotten so much personal growth from that. So really, there's no excuse to not to start working on yourself. There's a book called How to Do the Work by Dr. Nicole. She's the holistic psychologist on Instagram. Her book is called How to Do the Work. It's literally how to do the work when you don't have a therapist. So like, get that book. There's so many books. There's so many different ways to do it. And not to say that you won't ever, need to go to therapy for certain things, especially like traumatic events and things like that, but you have resources at your hand, like every single moment of every single day. It just takes you utilizing them.
I think that that question and that statement, along with I saw another person asking a thing, they said, "How do you start?" I think that the thing that really kind of gassed me up was like when instead of like treating me with kid gloves, instead of being like, "Here's what you should do, here's how you," it's just like, stop being a pansy. Like you're
Yeah.
being a total baby. It's like you're creating these excuses, like, "Oh well, therapy is for the rich. I can't do it," or like, "What do I do to start?" It's like you know exactly what you need to do to start. You don't need to ask somebody like us. That's an insane contention because you just want somebody else to serve it. And it's like that's a
Mm.
perfect example of the self-defeat and the victimhood mentality that we take, where it's like someone needs to tell me how to make money. Somebody needs to tell me how to be healthy. Somebody needs to tell me what to do when I go to the gym. It's like just start going to the gym. Ask
Yeah.
people questions. Go on YouTube. Like that's I feel like if you asked me that question 30 years ago, I would have been like, okay, like here's a guy that knows a guy. But now it's like you got a phone in your pocket with YouTube. Every question the world could ever answer is there. And on top of it all, like you're being a pansy. And it's just like you need to stop being a victim
Yeah.
of your own mind. Um, I love Tony Horton from P90X. One of my favorite quotes ever. He was like, "Excuses are self-imposed obstacles that prevent you from having a better life." And it's just like I
Wow.
can't I can't succeed in business because I don't have money. I used to tell myself that ad nauseum. I used to tell my parents that all the time. I would tell my dad, I'm like, "Oh, if I could just had $5,000 loan, like my business would take off. If I just had 10,000, if I just had an investor, it would work." And the truth of the matter was, I was just using that as an excuse to justify why I wasn't doing it right. And
Wow.
and turned out, if I had gotten the $10,000, it wouldn't have helped. I took a second mortgage out on my house, and I took about $50,000 out of my house, and I used that money to invest and build the business up. I had ripped through it in 5 or 6 months, and it grew the business, but not nearly to the effect of what I thought. And what I learned from that is that that excuse that I had about if only I had money, then this was
Hmm.
complete BS. It was the same principles that I needed to use when I had no resources that would have made that way more successful. And had I gotten that $50,000 3 years earlier, I would have blown through it even faster, and it would have been way less efficient. It's like we constantly lie to ourselves about what our capacity is, and we
Hmm.
look for these external sources to serve it up to us on a platter. How many people go to success seminars or business seminars and they write notes, they write out 10 pages of notes, and then they go home and do nothing?
And do nothing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think the number one piece of advice that I would say to any question or anything you're trying to do is execute. Literally execute. That's the only thing that you need to learn to start doing. Because here's the thing, even if you execute and it's wrong, now you have the opportunity to learn something. You can apply it, and maybe next time you get it right. Maybe you don't get it right for the next 3 times, but guess what? You're going to get it right more than the person that's still sitting there thinking about it next week. Think about if you were just to execute every single day for the next 7 days. Every single day for the next 7 days, you don't care what it is, you're executing on it in relation to your goals. Guess where you're going to be 7 days from now? A lot further than you were when you were just thinking about it. I think a lot of people, they overthink and they want to have the perfect plan. They want to have the perfect 1, 2, 3 step to success. The overnight success thing that Instagram sells, become a 6-figure entrepreneur, 7-figure entrepreneur in 6 months. And in reality, it's like, no, you actually just need to learn how to handle what you already have and execute on that really well. The same thing goes for like financial advice. Um, One of my financial advisors would always say, like, you actually don't need more money. You need to treat the money that you have right now better. If
Yeah,
you would treat the money that you have right now better, you would get your way to more money. And it's so true, because the way that you're treating your money and your finances right now is exactly how you're going to treat it when you have more. So you're just going to have bigger problems or bigger decisions to make with more pressure on it. You think it's hard making a decision when you're having like a few $1,000s. What about, quite a few more than that, a few 100,000? That's bigger, much more pressure of a decision. So I think it's important, like you're saying, to utilize these principles right now, to start practicing them right now, so that the same principles you're using right now are the ones that you'll use when you get to your goal or to the next level that it is that you're trying to reach. I also wanted to talk about intention behind the action. Earlier, we were talking about, really making that decision to take action in moments that would lead you to where you want to go. Maybe it's like a workout, like you're not just going there, but you're going there, you're working hard, you're like, did I do enough? So for me, I'll give like dieting an example. I'm in like a little season of healing, right? I'm looking to heal my hormones and to get my inside health at its optimal range. I'm at like my maybe 50% on the inside, which a lot of people wouldn't realize like looking at me, but hormonally, like that's where I'm at. So my main goal and focus right now is health. So when I'm looking at food, rather than saying, oh, I have to eat healthy, or oh, I have to, choose these foods, or I can't have this, I'm looking at it as, I just tell myself, it's just 3 words: food is medicine. So when I'm sitting there and I'm about to make a food choice, I say, food is medicine. And all of a sudden, it's really easy to not eat cookies, because I'm like, that's not good medicine. Like, good medicine is eating these things that are going to give me those nutrient dense foods that I actually need. So same thing with like, working out. Are you working out to punish yourself? Are you working out and you're hating it and you're resenting it? Or are you working out because you feel so freaking thankful that you have 2 arms and 2 legs and a healthy body that can actually move and do these movements? And it's something that makes you feel better when you're done, getting into the gratitude of it. So I think intention behind our actions is so important and can really help us shape our actions moving forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. See, that's the thing is like without that intention, I can't imagine how anybody expects anything to happen. And it's
Mm,
like it's those small decisions that you're even making, even just like you said, before you grab something out of the fridge. It's like imagine if you had that level of discipline about everything, not only that you did, but that you thought about. And like
oh,
somebody was saying something to me the other day, or no, I was on a podcast earlier today, and he was asking me about stocks, and he was like, "Do you follow the Reddit stocks or the meme stocks or crypto or whatever else?" And I was like, I don't want to waste 5 minutes of my day thinking about something that's not my magic. Like that's
mm,
not me doing the thing that I can uniquely do better than anybody
wow.
in the world, which is being like authentically me. So
Yeah.
like I don't wash my car. I don't wash my bathtub. It's like the maid does the bathtub so I can think about my magic. The car gets washed at the car wash so I can focus on the magic. I'm not going to follow meme stocks to make a few extra bucks here and there because that's not my grand slam. And even though I might be able to make short-term cash or get a little win, it distracts me from the magic piece, from the piece that I can uniquely
Wow.
thrive at mega long term. It's like I don't want that money now. I want to focus on the magic piece that will
Yes.
that will pay dividends forever.
Oh my gosh, that is huge. Like eliminating all the distractions that aren't your main, that aren't your lane. I've been talking recently a lot about finding your lane and staying in your lane. I think there's a lot of people that they are pushing so hard towards what they're seeing on Instagram as portrayed as success or portrayed as a success path. And they're failing over and over again. They're not realizing why they're failing. And it's like, that was never meant to be your lane. That's not
Right.
your magic. Like, you have to find what your lane is. And the second that you find your lane, you have to stay focused and stay in that and not let anything to distract you from that. Because once you are, you can hit a momentum and an energy. And it's like what you're saying, it's like your magic. And once you hit that, it's so much like, it's almost like you have this I almost want to say like grace to like do what you do, because when you're in your zone, nothing can touch that. But when you're trying to copy someone else's or you're trying to be in their lane, you're going to come up short every single time, and you're going to spend every single day feeling like a failure. But it's simply just not your lane. You got to like readjust and get back in your lane.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I see people and like even here in the chat, it's like people will disagree with something that I'm not putting up for debate. It's like if that's your thing,
Mm-hmm.
that's fine. It's just that I understand that I would rather it's like that example, that money example, the money multiplication example we learned when we were in high school, where they were like, would you rather have $1 million or a penny that doubles every day for 30 days? And most people are like, $1 million? Are you kidding? I would rather have the $1 million. Whereas a penny that multiplies, that doubles every day for 30 days is like $5.8 million or something like that. And it's just like, most people don't understand that just because you're ahead of just because you have more points on the board in the third quarter doesn't mean that you win the game. And it's like, I'm playing the long game
Yes,
of what
yes.
I understand, of what I know will work for my strategy. And if I'm going to do something that's going to make me $1,000 this week, or something that will make me $400 this week, but I know that 5 years from now it'll far eclipse what could have ever been made at 1,000, I'm doing the 400. I'll do the
Wow.
100 because it's like, I understand the macro impact long term of the thing that has more value, that's more specialized. As those meme, if you become the best meme stock guy and then all of a sudden meme stocks aren't a thing, well, then you got to scramble. Whereas if you were doing the magic, the thing that was uniquely you, that not everybody else could do anyways, that's how you win. So it's like, I try not to focus even so much as a thought on anything other than the thing that's going to give me the highest yield over the long term.
Wow. 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 How do you redirect your thoughts when I don't know if you do, but if you find your thoughts like kind of going everywhere? Maybe it's not about even business. Maybe it's about like relationships or, desiring something, or I don't know, like how do you take control of those thoughts when you feel like they're kind of everywhere?
Exa- what has happened to me thus far? It's like, if you're not learning from the mistakes that you're making, then like you're doing it wrong. I know that whatever I focus on grows. I can
Mm,
objectively look back at my life and look at whatever I think about consistently works. That's why I feel like running three businesses is impossible, because it's like only one of them is going to really work. So
wow.
the same goes for like life in general. Whenever something comes into my sphere that causes me to divert my attention away, I'm like, get it out. Like I want it out. And like
Wow.
I took a job the other day. I took a logo job, which is like my old job, my web
Yeah.
development and graphic design job. And when I first started building up my account here, I was like, I'm not going to build any more websites. I've been building websites 3 to 5 a month for the past 13 years. It built everything around me, my car, my house, everything that I own is because of these websites that I built. When I started this account, I decided I'm not going to build websites anymore. I have to go all in.
Yeah.
And the other day, I took this $1,000 logo job, and I was like, it's a logo, it's fun, I'll knock it out, I'll do whatever. The 4 or 5 hours that I spent just thinking about it, talking to the guy, emailing with the guy, I'm like, I could have made 4 videos. I could have been this farther ahead, and it killed me that all I had at the end was $1,000. It
Wow.
killed me, and I'm like, this is like, you went against your belief. You did something for cash. You looked at the short-term cash, and you missed the opportunity that was the real opportunity. And even though I may have made $23 in the same time frame versus 1,000, what I would have gained from that potentially couldn't have been measured in just short-term
Mm,
dollars. It's like,
yeah.
what else could have happened? And that was a real lesson to me, where I was like, that's it. Like, I can't divert attention away from the magic. It's like, when you know that you have a royal flush, like, you're
Mm,
not paying attention to the guy that walks by. Like, you don't care about
damn.
anything. You're like, I'm gonna win. It's a
Yes.
given. I'm not gonna risk even looking to the left or right. It's just like,
Wow.
I'm playing this game, and that's it. And it's like, that discipline of mind has changed everything in my life, because every single time I focus on a single thing, and my dad said this to me one time. He's like, when you ever really wanted something and you put your mind to it, like, you pretty much got it. He's like, tell me an example of things that you didn't get that you should have gotten, that you really put everything into. And I was like, that's kind of an interesting thought. And he's just like, okay, so then just keep doing with whatever this target is, because it
Yeah.
will come. So it's like, just keep
Wow.
doing. So
Yeah.
that type of focus is like I remember a friend to me in the fall was like, you need to make some new friends that are operating at a higher level. You need to, that's what you need to do. And I was like, well, how do I do that? Being your typical victim. And she was like, just ask him out to lunch. Just how did I meet you? She said. And she's
Yeah.
like, she asked me out to lunch, and now she's like one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I asked a new friend out to lunch, and I've had so much. I've had a radical shift in the time that I've spent with just this one person that I asked to lunch has made 30 different events different for me in the last 5 months that came from the single
Wow.
conversation of her being like, just ask somebody to lunch. And like my life is different. It's like that's the type of stuff where it's just like when you see those small objective hits, you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
what else could I do?
Yeah. Your mind is blown. Like, what else have I been sleeping on my entire life?
Right. Exactly. Because it's all there.
Yeah.
It's all there. But we just like allow time to pass. I used to think like, well, if I just keep doing it every day for 10 years, it'll work. I didn't realize that it's on me to expedite the process throughout the 10 years. It's not the time passing. It's like I was listening to this podcast or this guy today that was like, he was like, well, how many hours do you have in a day? He's like, most people would say 24. And he's like, I pay 100 people for 8 hours a day. Now I have 800 hours a day. He's like, how do you figure out a
Wow.
way to shorten the distance between where you are and where you need to be? How do you become hyper efficient? And then over 10 years, if you're increasing your hyper efficiency, that's the time. It's not just
No
saving the time.
kidding. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and like what I see from you is you just have this insane hyper focus. And I think if you can learn to execute and have this hyper focus, wow, like you really are going to get everything that you want. And the other thing is,
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why you have this hyper focus is what I see is that you just fully understand your value and your worth. And I think that when you understand that, you won't entertain anything that is less than that. Any thoughts, any
Yeah.
distractions, any people, any deals, you won't even think twice about it because you fully understand. So I think it's important, as you're talking, I'm just kind of like dissecting everything that you're saying. I'm like, wow, okay, so it is vitally important for you to understand your worth and your value and where you stand so that you don't give away your royal flush to people that have, I don't know poker terms, but whatever would be really bad.
Right.
Jack shit, does that count?
Yeah. Sure.
Is that a poker term?
I'll accept it.
Thanks. That's yeah, man. I'm motivated. Who's
Yeah.
motivated on here? Drop some hearts if you feel motivated.
See, I think that there's two things.
No hearts,
One is
please.
that I think that you either believe you're destined for greatness or you don't.
Wow.
And I mean, what decision is that? If you don't think that that's your objective, and if you don't think that's the goal, if you think that you're going to be a middle of the road person, just your everyday average person, well, that's exactly where you're going to end up. That's for certain.
Yeah.
So number
Yeah.
one, it's like, all right, am I destined for greatness or not? Okay, destined for greatness. How am I going to get there? Unwavering lack of doubt is how it
Wow.
happens. So it's like I never doubt that I will have tremendous greatness. Okay, then I will have it, right? Number one. And the other thing too is I remember at a young age, I can't remember who said it to me. It might have been a soccer coach or something like that. They basically said, look, you're either a leader or a follower. And you got to
Mm-hmm.
decide now early in life, are you going to lead or are you going to follow? And they're just like, there's no wrong answer. If you follow, there's a lot of people that are great number twos. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that are very successful at being a complement to people that lead. And they're
And
just
they're
like,
so necessary too.
right. And it's just like, am I destined for greatness and am I going to lead? And I was just like, well, if I think that I could do the greatest thing to ever be done, whatever that may be, so long as I pursue it without doubt, then I have to be a leader and I have to believe I'm destined for greatness. And I have to have unwavering doubt that it's a foregone conclusion that that will happen, not in the far future, but in the way that I act right now. So that when
Wow.
someone looks back at how I acted 5 years ago, I acted with that end goal in mind. I'm reverse engineering the greatness from the present. It's just like, I understand that that is a guarantee that like
Mm-hmm.
greatness is inevitable. And when you look back and somebody tells the story, something I said on one of my lives one time, it's like, when you make a decision, it's like, is this going to go in the book of your life? Will this
Mm-hmm.
make a chapter? Like you made a
Wow.
decision to go on this trip or meet this person or take this decision or open this business or quit your job or whatever, go to the gym every day. Will that decision be in the book of your life? If somebody was to write an autobiography after you die, will it be in the book? And it's just like, if I make a decision about things that will be in the book and I accumulate more things to be in the book, it's like I'm winning all the way through.
Oh my gosh. Hit us with that knowledge, Bobby Sausalito. So good.
Yeah.
Damn. CJ, what's up? Um, Holy crap, I am like motivated to take on life. This, guys, is why it's so important to surround yourself with people that are on fire because the energy is like infectious. And I
Yep.
want this kind of energy in my life. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
whew, let's go. I was sleeping before this and now I'm not. Okay, so when are you going to come be on the Evolved Emily show officially?
Send me an invite there, Corn Pop.
All right, Corn Pop. That's my official name, huh?
Yes, it's a default go to for all. It's a term of endearment in the Bobby
A term
Sausalito.
of endearment, Corn Pop. Did you eat corn pops growing up or something?
No, it's because Joe Biden said one time he was like Corn Pop was a bad dude, so I just call everybody Corn Pop.
Stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
yeah. Or here's the other thing. One of the things that I realized very early on is that like when I was in high school, it was like my brother and I had this like very peculiar vernacular where we would say a name and then that name would become another nickname and then become another nickname. Like one guy would start out as like Bobby Joe and then like by the end of the month his name would be like Cheese Wheel or something like that.
It's real.
People are like, how do you name him Cheese Wheel? It's like, well, there was this one time he ate a wheel of cheese and we called him Ratatouille, and Ratatouille was a rat. It's like, and you can
That's
retrace it back.
amazing.
So my vernacular, I feel like, is one of the things that's kind of not only made me memorable like in social situations, but even here online, where it's just like I just say a random like smattering of words, and it's just like
100%.
it's like who says that? It's like I'm just like, what's up, you bag of rice? Like, people are like. You're like, but why though? And I'm like, I don't know, but that's the whole point.
You're like, I don't know, but you're smiling and laughing, so clearly it worked.
Exactly.
Everybody needs some more of that in their life. Okay, well, we need to make this podcast thing happen. Maybe, you know what? We should schedule it around like a festival or a concert or something and just do both in one weekend.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is like, so when's your studio done? Did you finish it?
So it's not finished, but it's functional. But
Nice.
hopefully by the time I'm having guests fly in, I want it to be like beautiful. I'm in it right now.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's very good, functional. I've already done interviews, but I need to like, decorate it and stuff. So I need like a green plant and like some things in here. I want to get my logo on the wall and stuff. So it's still just little stuff, but it's fully functional. And for podcasting, no one actually cares but me about the decor. So I'm just kind of slowly putting that together. But no, we're pretty much live and good to go.
Do you prefer to do them in person? Because I would fly there to do that.
Yes, I've
Yeah.
heard of that. Yeah. Plus, we can just have a dope weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I'm down, put it in the old books there.
Cool. I'll look at some dates and send you some dates over, and then maybe we can do a little Instagram live there in person too.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that what we'll probably see from this, because I'm going to post it, I'll bet a lot of people find a lot of value from this. And
I hope so.
the cool thing about the lives, which is why I find it to be an exceptional form of media, is that not only do people get to see it in real time, which just gives it a little bit of that tingly feeling, because it's just like, here's two people that are actually doing something right this moment. Not only can I interact with them and engage with them, but it's happening right now. It's like, this is the first time it's ever being seen. So it has that kind of freshness to it. But then on top of it, I feel that once it then becomes a video, a lot of people see the fact that there was no pauses, there was no interruption. This is just a raw delivery, and it's just a really interesting form of media. So I think between now and then, we should just do this again as well. Take a topic or take more questions and just keep doing them, because I think people get a lot of value from them, not necessarily just live, but when they watch them replayed as well. Like I'll drop it on my Facebook and YouTube also.
Okay, that's really cool. I didn't even know you were going to do that. I didn't
Yeah.
think about that. You know what's funny? I actually really prefer live video. I think it's from doing like coaching calls and stuff. There's sometimes when if I'm alone in my podcast studio room, it's almost like I don't have enough pressure to just make it happen the first time. And then all of a sudden I find myself wanting to like redo it. I think it's like this perfectionist thing, whereas if it's live, I just roll with it and it's fine. So I actually do prefer live video. I think it's that's why I do like my live coaching calls and stuff. But yeah, maybe you'll get me into this consistent routine of doing lives. That'd be great. And I think it's really cool for us to go back and forth too, because you have such a like, I feel like you're just so good with like your business mindset and your drive and your focus and everything that you're going after right now. And I think that I have like different strengths, and I think with a man perspective and woman perspective, we can come together on a lot of things and provide our experience and perspective that hopefully will help people no matter where they're at in their lives to really just take action and start executing on these things. Man, if we can get people executing and focused on what they're doing and coming from a place of love and gratitude and pouring that into other people, I think we can seriously like do some real good damage for the, warriors of light over here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember a long time ago, I saw this statistic that was like there are more videos on YouTube than you could watch in like 200 lifetimes. There's like there's like there's like a billion minutes of videos uploaded to YouTube like every day or like something crazy. And so I think so with so much reverence for when 5,000 or even 500, but 5,000, 10,000 people watch my videos or watch my live streams. And you're like, this is a limited amount of time that this person even has alive on earth. And
Wow.
this is what they're absorbing. So it's just like, if you want to change the world, if that's not changing the world by changing the way that one person executes one thing one time, one day, it's like if you hear something here that changes the way that you think, it could ripple through your life, your kid's life. You could repeat it on another podcast. Like the macro impact of us exchanging a single line is so profound that I don't even think we could ever even understand it. And if we would only acknowledge that the internet will exist far beyond even our human life, we would wonder how fucking amazing would it be if you could watch a video of your grandfather talking
Wow.
to somebody when he was 30 years old. You tell me that you wouldn't fucking watch that right now and be like, that's the shit.
Wow.
Or your dad or your mom, right? You would go back and be like, yo, this is fucking nuts. Or like you watch a video of like Abraham Lincoln giving a podcast when he was 23. Can you the imagine the
So dope.
lifetime impact of that? So when I think about these videos, I'm like, we don't even know what
Wow.
this means. And it's like, yes, it's just a little thing, but it's going to be saved and it's going to go and it'll exist. And imagine if one day you get to where you think you're going to get this type of shit and how it rippled through the fabric of humanity around the fucking planet. The
Yeah.
macro impact of just a single thought that you had on one live in one video one day could literally change the course of a human being's life or many thereafter. It's like if we could only acknowledge that, we would be a lot more attentive to what we think about and what we say and the value that really comes out of our face because it really is significant.
Oh my gosh, bro. I am just letting you take the floor because you're killing it. You hit me with all the feels. It's so true, man. And if you just think about the fact that, think about how many videos that you've already put out and all the content that you've already put out. I think about this all the time. I think death is like one of my biggest motivators in life because if I'm alive, I have the opportunity to live. And I think that's incredible. And there's a lot of people that did not get that chance today. But think about after you die, people are going to be able to be like, who has this guy? And they go back and they look and think about the fact that you're still going to be having an impact even after you're gone. I
Yep.
think that's huge. Like, I think if you only had this one live video and you were not here anymore and it was just this one video, you would change lives just from that. And I think that that's so incredibly valuable. Wow.
And
You're funny as shit, but you're deep too.
thanks,
Really
man.
deep. Deep.
No, and that's the thing too, is that like all of the goals that we ever had, all the aspirations that we ever had, where it's like, I want to change the world, I want to do great, I want to help people. It's like you objectively have thousands of hours of like pure, like unbridled, like uncost, like free life assistance that you have in hundreds of podcasts, thousands of videos, all of the minutes of time. It's like we don't even know what we've done so far, and it's just like I'm just getting started. It's like imagine the greatness that we've already done, and then the other people that will then see this and apply it to their podcast or their video or their social circle or what they tell to their brother, sister, cousin, daughter, whatever. It's like
Yeah.
this shit is macro and it's like super explosion out of in every direction, and it's just like this is it. Like this is success. This is us
Yes.
winning every day, and it's like yeah, I don't have a jet and a yacht yet,
Mhm.
but it's just like this is the magic. This is being
Yes.
rich. Like we are doing it. How fun is this? What a good time. Like I'm having fun, and
Yes.
we're thankful for you, and we're thankful for everything that you put out. And as made obvious by the people in the comments and all the people that say how much you've done great things for them, it's like we are just like objectively winning. And the cool thing about it is that there's plenty of room for everybody to win. So like, let's get this, fam,
And
because
true winners want other winners. Like
right.
we want everyone around us to win because like we said earlier, we're the sum of the people around us. We want winners around us. So like there is plenty of room. No true winner is going to be self-conscious or have any sort of insecurity about you winning. They're going to be like, oh, what's your specialty? What do you care about? What do you do? Hell yeah. Here, I have a contact. Let me help you with that. Go do it. Come back. You did it? Hell yeah. You know, like that's the kind of relationship and the kind of friendships and just people and community that I want around me in general. But I think it's so amazing. And it's cool because I've actually realized in this last week, I've had these few moments. I had one earlier today where I realized, you know how we talk about like planting seeds and seeing a harvest later? I just realized that, I mean, I've now been in this industry. I've now been doing social media. I've had a YouTube channel and podcast for so many years that there's so many seeds that I planted years ago that I'm actually seeing the harvest of it now. And like, I see that harvest. So as I'm continuing throughout today and planting new seeds, I used to always feel completely fresh and completely new. Like every day I have to create something completely new. And now what I'm realizing is that I've planted so many freaking seeds that there's every single day there's a harvest. So of course I go and I plant more seeds, but it's really rewarding to see and it's really motivating. It's motivating for the current things that I'm doing in my life and those current things that I'm working for because I see the long-term effect of it. You know, long-term, like, you know, short kind of, it's like the 8 to 10 year mark of doing this that now I'm like, damn, like it really does have an impact. Like you're saying, it's so much bigger than what we think. So these little actions like, hey, I'll hop on a live with you is actually probably a bigger action than what we realize in the moment, you know?
Yep, exactly. No, exactly. And it's like we didn't we and that's the thing too, is it's just like it comes back to the individual thought where it was like you were thinking about it today, I was thinking about it
Yeah.
today. We already talked about it, and then we're like, yo, let's just do that. All right, here's the like we're just gonna take the action. It's like
Yes.
now we have this beautiful piece of content, this hour-long piece of content that could do any variety of things because we had the thought, executed on it. Here's the production. Okay, now we're already like, when's the pod? When are we gonna do it? We're creating more luck. Like we have this relentless pursuit, and that's why it's continuing to win. It's no surprise. It's not magic. It's just like constant pressing.
I love it. I love you. You're like, this is not something to figure out. Like, this is expected.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
have people in the comments that were saying, someone was saying, like, just 5 minutes changed my whole day around. Someone else said, I needed this tonight and didn't realize it. CJ saying, y'all are the vibes. I love it. Like, I'm so thankful for that. That makes me so happy. And again, just shows you how taking one little small action could just be that little bit of momentum that you need to go forward and create more action in your life. So, wow. Should we end it here? I feel like we've feel like we could go on for forever, to be honest.
I agree. Well, that's the thing. I think we got a good cadence. I think this was of great value. Thanks for taking your time, and let's set another one up and just and keep it flowing, and then we'll do the pod, and then we'll go to range somewhere, and that's what we'll do.
Yes, do the thing. And everybody that's watching, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to listen to this and to write a comment or to, you know, support with a badge or to write a heart and whatever, however you guys choose to support by sharing the video when it's posted. We really appreciate it. And I hope that you guys will take this and not just listen to it and not just get this overwhelming amount of information and inspiration, but that you'll actually like put it into action. So challenge yourself after this to write out what it was for you that really stuck out to you. Maybe not everything meant everything to you, but there's probably one or two things that could really make a drastic difference in your life. So write those things down and then go and execute on them and come back in the next live and tell us what you did. That's going to be your accountability piece. Tell us what you took action on, and we want to create a community of people that execute and execute well.
Love it. Well said.
I can't not give some homework. I'm a coach.
Yeah, exactly. That was good.
I can't help myself. I'm like, these are your action steps.
Write it down. Bring it to the next one. You'll get a high mark. Nice. I love it.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Let's talk again soon.
Okay, sounds good.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Yo, thanks so much for being here. That was a lot of fun. I'm gonna post this to the story. I'm gonna post it on the Facebooks and the YouTubes. A big thanks to everybody that got the badges. I appreciate it so much. Naomi, Jenna Rose SP, Don Maureen, Colombian Cafe, and Omar Belair. Thank you guys so much for the badges. Thanks for being here, guys. Go follow at Emily Hayden. I'm going to post this up on the story. Like I said, I'll drop it on the YouTubes and the Facebook. If you liked what you heard today, give either of us a follow and share the video. Send it to people that you think would get value from it. Much love, as you know. I appreciate you guys always. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful night. I will see you tomorrow.